So today I'm going to start this off by just taking some blue paint or brown or anything at all and decide where you want your land. So the sky and then the foreground. So I'm just going to make a little bit of a crookedy, there we go, sky on first. So I'm going to start off with some blue and then I'm going to put my moon on after. That's the way I find it easier, especially when I'm doing videos. Like, I mean, I could sit down for hours and hours playing around with a painting, which I love to do also. But when I'm doing videos, I try to get as much done as I can in a short period of time, so I don't have a big long video to put up for you. Because you want to learn the techniques, simple techniques, and you want to learn easier ways to paint. Now my paint is sticking a little bit, so I might add a little bit of my magic white. So what I did was I added water to my spray bottle. It's a misting bottle, and I used my magic white recipe, and I mixed two of them together, about half and half, and I'm going to mist it rather than put it on by brush. And I'm going to put a video up on how to do all this. I have other ideas to help you blend your paints, but now this will keep it wet, but not as long as if you put it on thicker, you know what I mean? So this is just misting it with magic white and water. So see how much easier that is. Look, see? Before I was using a lot of paint trying to keep the paint wet, but now look, it's perfect, see? And yeah, so I'm going to do a video on, you know, how to blend your paints and how to do different things, different ways. Something like this too, right? You know, look, see, that's just blending perfectly there, and I don't need as much paint. See, look at that. Isn't that amazing? That is really, I don't know, just love it. Yeah, so magic white, put it in your bottle, spray bottle, a misting bottle. Mix it with water, because you don't want it to stay wet too long for some cases, so you just want it enough to spread your paint. Now you might say, well, why don't you just use water and mist it with water? You can, but it doesn't last as long, so you have to keep misting and misting, and then your paints end up too thin. They almost become transparent if you use too much. So this way you get to use your magic white, but thinned out more water, see? Look how pretty that came out. Look at that. Isn't that nice? I'm going to put a big moon on there. And I'm going to darken up the bottom of that blue just to give it a more of a nighttime look. I'm just going to take my ultramarine blue, darken it up down here a little bit. Now when that dries, because now see, that's still wet. I mean, look, you can still blend, and so I'm going to let that dry a little bit first. And then, now if you're in a hurry to let it dry, use a hairdryer, okay? But fantastic for blending. Alright, and fantastic for working for long periods of time. I decided to use a bristle brush also. As you can see, the brush is, it's a size 8. So, you know, you have to judge your brushes. A lot of times you say, how big are your brushes? Well, judge your, I can tell you what I'm using, but you could be using a huge canvas like this one here, right? This one here is like 20 by, I don't know, 20 by 24 or something. So, you know, depending on how big your canvas is, that's how big your brush is going to be. So I'm going to put some grass down here while we're waiting for the top part to dry. I could use a hairdryer, but this gives me an excuse to move on different places. I like moving around different places. So I'm going to make my own green. I'm going to use ultramarine blue and yellow to make my green. And I want a nice dark green. So I'm going to add a little bit of burnt umber and a little bit of red. See, nice and dark. I don't want too blue. Let's get some more yellow in there. Okay. Now I didn't spray the bottom part with the magic white because I don't need to really down here, because they're splattering on some paint. And I should say we're stippling. You can call this stippling, or tap, tap, tap. That's what I always say. Tap, tap, tap. So I want to keep this a bit dark. So I'm just mixing my burnt umber and my blue and yellow to make green. And getting a really nice texture. You can see the texture there. Look at that. Isn't that nice? See that texture? Alright. Let's keep it going. If you add red to your green, it gives it a nice earthy look. Not too much red. I'm just changing up colors a little bit here, just so I can get some different colors in my grass. When that dries, then I'm going to add more colors and more shadows, more highlights. Don't forget, shadows and highlights are very important for realism. If you want to make your paintings more realistic, you have to look at your values and the shadows, highlights, midtones. I got videos of all this, and I got podcasts on everything that I talk about, okay? So that way you'll be able to, if you're not interested in watching anything visual right away and you want to just relax, and I also have podcasts, so I will leave some links to my podcast so you can have a listen to. I have a lot of tips and tricks that I don't have on videos. Well, eventually I hope to, because I think visual, you really need to see things visually too. And when that dries, we'll darken that up down in the bottom there. So that's the grassy area. That's good. Now we got the sky and the grassy area started. I want to give you a tip, and if your water gets really dirty, okay, if your water gets really dirty, you should change your water, you know, frequently, but you know, enough to, when it starts to change, you're better off cleaning it, because all you're going to get is a dirty brush. And then what's happening is when you try to put on white or you put on something, it's going to pick up the dirty water, and then you're not going to get that really beautiful white. So I would say if you're doing all darks, you can leave the water dirty. It's not too bad, right? But once you start going into the light sections, like, you know, your bright moon and your highlights, clean the water. Another way you can do it is you're going to have 2 jars of water. One for when you're painting with darks, and one for when you're painting with lights. So, get something round and put it on here. And then you get your chalk. You go round, 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 and round, and round. And then you got a really nice little round circle to get started. Good. I use a flat chiseled edge brush, okay? See how nice and thin that is? So you can get around lines. Now you can use a Filbert. You can use a flat brush, anything that is flat and chiseled edge. Bristle won't do it, okay? So we'll just take our paint. I'm just going to take white, and I'm going to paint that in. All right. See some of that blue sky coming through there? That's nice, actually. You can leave that and then put some highlights of white on it. I kind of like that. Okay. And then when you, because we use chalk, when you're happy with your moon, and you get it all done, you can wipe your chalk lines away with a damp brush, all right? Up the sky a little bit on the bottom here. Some blue, ultramarine blue. Nice. See, because it's dry now, you can add that on there. Good. Nice and dark. Now I want that nice and dark, so I'm going to add a little bit of black to it. A little bit of black. And mist it with water. You don't want the blending gel right now. I'm sorry. So mist it and just with water. And that will get it to move better. Okay, so we're going to come up here and we're going to, so I really want it dark around the moon so I can start lightening up to a nice light blue so that I can go back to what I had here. So I want to blend these two colors together. Okay, see that? This is a good way to show you how to blend. Alright, so paint blends really well when you have paint, wet on wet. Look how nice that is, see? So we just bring that right up around the moon. Adding some light blue, only because I want to try and match it up with the top one. Now you can do all this before you put your moon on. Okay, I just wanted to show you how you can blend and how things can work out. So just blend those two colors together there. As long as your paint is wet, you'll be fine. I got a nice dark. I wanted to make it darker on the bottom. Now I'm going to darken up this area here with some green. Dark green and a little bit of black will help really darken it up, okay? See if we can get that nice and dark down here. That's pretty, look at that. Alright. Nice dark green. Got a little bit of burnt umber to it, a little bit of red. That'll really make it nice and dark. Look at that. Now you can do that in the beginning if you get that nice dark color. Just keep putting on your grass. You might say, well, why didn't you do that in the beginning? Well, sometimes when you do things, they don't turn out the way you want them to. And as you can see, I'm going to lighten that up a little bit up here and I get more into the greenish color. Add more yellow, that's all. Just add more yellow to your dark color, see? That will brighten it up a bit for you. Okay, that looks better, doesn't it? Just tap down into the dark just to get that transition. You certainly don't want to have these lines. So at least today you're learning how to make transitions of color, how to blend. I mean, there's so many things you can learn in a painting besides just making a Halloween painting, you know what I mean? Like, you can learn how to do all kinds of things, right? What brushes to use. So every painting that I do, I try to add a lot of techniques so you can learn. Because you can use them in other paintings too, don't forget. So there we go. We leave that for now. That looks better, doesn't it? That's much better. So I'm going to make a big old tree over here and go across the moon. No Halloween painting would be the same without it. I'm adding some black and burnt umber. Don't want to be pure black. And I'm using my chiseled edge brush. And I'm using the chisel edge to get that tree. I want to decide where I want my tree. Put a tree here. Come over on the moon. It should be dry now, so try to make sure it's dry. At least you got that done, see? And we can go over and fix that, you know, like make it thicker and everything. But I want to get this done first. So let's go and do another one. You can even join two of them up. And just come off of there. And another one there. Use the chiseled edge. And we're going to make thinner lines. Alright. So we'll start using thinner lines on that now in a little while. Okay. Maybe a little fence coming down there and maybe going back there. Just make it up as you go along. Okay? Just make it up as you go along and have some fun. Like it's going off in the wilderness somewhere, I don't know. I don't know. And then we'll have something there on that tree, maybe a little owl or something. And we'll have our pumpkin here. So let's see what we can do with that. So I'm just going to, before I put my pumpkin on, just letting that dry there. I'm just going to get my brown and black with my liner brush. And I'm going to make those thinner lines that I said I was going to do. I'll clean that up here. And then I'm going so let's draw with some chalk, get some idea where we want our pumpkin. So we'll just take, I'm going to dent it there just to get some idea of where I want the stalk. And then I'm just going to make a circle, come down. I want to go all the way to the bottom. And there. So I got that started. Now I'm going to make the pumpkin, I want to make it a darker color than orange. I will be putting orange highlights on it, but I just like to get something different. So I'm just going to put a brownish color on there, would you believe? So we're just going to fill it all in with kind of a brownish color. I'm using burnt umber with a little bit of white. Alright. Now that'll shape up now when you start adding the highlights. And the mid-tones, you know, the different values of color. The different values. You need at least 3 values, okay? We're putting on our darkest value now. And if it's not dark enough, just add a little bit of black to your burnt umber. Should be dark enough as it is. Just make sure your paint underneath is dry so that it won't mix with it and then it'll change the color on you. Alright. Okay, so let's keep putting the burnt umber on. That's good. And when that dries, we'll put some eyes and nose and mouth in there. Now, that's dry. So now you can use some yellow chalk. I find yellow is good because it's really bright. And I think we will decide what kind of eyes you want. So you can make a scary face or you can make a happy face, whatever you want to do, okay? So I'm just going to put in 2 triangles. You can make whatever you want. And a little nose for a triangle nose. And big mouths. Let's see. Straight over and up. And then we come down again underneath here. And then we come back up to meet that one. And we'll come back up to meet that one. Now, it gives it a little bit of a, I don't know, different look. Good. Now what you're going to do is you're going to paint those eyes and mouth and nose white because the background is so dark. you're going to need to brighten these up. Now you could have did that before you put on your brown, but trying to work around that is kind of too tedious. So let's go with the white and just paint that in white, okay? And then we'll have yellow eyes, if you want yellow eyes or whatever color you're going to put in there. It'll come out nice and bright once it dries, okay? See how the brown is coming through there? But the white will help brighten it up. So anytime you got a dark background, and you're putting, you need a light color to go over the dark background, just do white first. So now make sure your white is dry before you put your yellow on. And add a bit of white to your yellow to make it more opaque, because yellow is pretty transparent. Now you can do a second or third coat on that if you like. I'll let that dry and then maybe I'll do another coat. While I'm waiting, I am going to try and do something with the pumpkin. I'm going to take a smaller flat brush and I'm going to put a little stalk on there. Okay, and so I'm going to take green. I'm going to make my own green with some yellow and blue. I just love the way the ultramarine blue and the cad yellow gives these gorgeous greens. I don't even think you can get it out of a bottle. And I'm going to take some chalk first, and I'm going to draw what way I want my stalk, and that way I'll be able to know how big I want it and stuff. So right now I'm just going to take a guess at it. I'm just going to make a hook like that. I'm going to come outside because that's too small if I go inside. And I'm going to take it from here and out, and a little bit thicker on the end here. All right. So that's my stalk. And I'm going to fill it in with green. Might shape it up a little better. I like to have it a little thicker in this part here. There we go. Nice dark green for now because we want to do some highlighting on there. There we go. Nice. I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger brush here. And this is flat, chiseled edge, and I'm going to, what am I going to do? Let me see. I'm going to take because it's got brownish tones to it, I'm going to take my brown and I'm going to add some white. Just for highlight, okay? And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to highlight this a little bit up here. So I'm just going to make a little bit here, a little bit here. I'll leave some shadow in between there. Okay, so I'm just going to separate those two. I'm going to make a bigger one here. So make sure you leave separations of color there, the dark, so that you can see these nice highlights. And maybe another one here, another one here. Okay, so that's your highlights. And then we'll play with those until we get them the way we want them. So I'm just going to drag them down a bit. Very lightly. I don't want it to take over my whole pumpkin or anything. Alright. I'm going to add a little bit of red and yellow on that in a minute, just to give it a more of an orangey look. So I'm going to bring that down here, over closer to the eye, and probably this one might go around the eye area. Okay. Now you can do this with the red and yellow now, Okay, just trying to, I experiment. I'm bad for that. I just like to try things out. If I don't like it, I'll get rid of it. You know? So I want to see what this looks like before I decide. So let's see, that looks nice so far. It's coming along. So now I'm going to try an orangey color. And then if you want to, you can start with the orangey color instead of this brown. This is just I just want to get a highlight there just so I can see the shapes that I wanted. So let's take our yellow and our red. A little bit of orangey color, a little bit of burnt umber, just to tone it down a bit. So I don't really want to go too bright yet, so I may not like it. So just follow what you already did. And that will brighten up the edges there. You can even go with a bit more red if you want. Whatever you think will work for you. And see, what colors I'm using, you may not like these colors, you know? So you decide on the colors yourself what you want to use. You might want to make this into a bright orange, a full bright orange pumpkin, right? I'm just playing around with some colors. Alright, so try not to have too much paint on your brush. I can see I had a little bit too much, but let's see. I'm just going to follow what I got down here. So the brown is like an underpainting. Let me get some light on this side from the moon. Always decide where your light is, okay? Try to remember where your light is. That will give you some realism. Now, I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm just going to wipe it off in my tissue. And whatever's left over on my brush, I'm just going to scrub it down here. And if your paint is still wet, that will help smooth it out more. That will, you know, helps. Okay. It's a little bit of a different technique, but it's nice to learn all kinds of techniques. Nothing wrong with that. Right? It's different, isn't it? A little bit more color, and then I'll wipe it off my tissue. If you run out, just go back and get some more, but just wipe it off your tissue. Good. Doing highlights, you don't need a lot of paint, but when you're doing a big sky and you're trying to get everything to mix together, you need a lot of paint, okay? So big areas, lots of paint. Small areas, small details, less paint. Same with your brushes. You need a bigger brush for large area and a smaller brush for smaller details. Just if you can remember that kind of stuff, it really helps. Then you don't have to guess and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, I'm going to pick up some yellow with some white. I'm trying to get the highlights nice and bright now, because that moon is really shining on there, see? That moon is really shining there. So I'm going to get some white this time. Wipe it off on my dirty brush. I'm going to get a little bit of a really nice highlight over here. So I kept doing highlights until I was happy with them. But I started off with a darker highlight, and then I worked my way up to a medium and then a light. Highlight, light. And I noticed that I left out the teeth. So I'll put that in a little while. Now see, that's nice and bright. Now just add a little bit of red to your yellow mixture. And you get a little bit of an orangey color. And then you're going to just lay that in the corner here, just so that we can have another value of color to give it a little more of a depth. Okay. There we go, just a little enough to give it a little more depth instead of just a flat yellow. Whoops. I went outside lines. Oh my goodness. And a little bit of orange. Just put on a little bit just to give it that, instead of having a flat yellow, you know. See, isn't that nice? Now I'm going to clean off my brush. Just cleaning off my brush. Some paper towel. That's pretty messy. Oh, all right. So because the paint is still wet, so we're working on wet. So when I put that yellow and white on there, I add a little bit of white to my yellow. Then I left it still wet, so now I can blend this so that it looks blended and it's not just a line. See how that sharp line is there? We don't want that. We want to make it look kind of transition the colors into each other by having wet on wet. Both the paints are wet, so you can easily, very easily, blend them. As long as they're wet, you're doing good. See, that looks much better, doesn't it? And if you still want a brighter yellow, you can always add a bit of white to what you did. I mean, you know, like, so you can, depends on what you want to do. So just add a little bit of a lighter color. Just add a little bit of white because it's still a bit wet, so it won't go completely white. I don't want to lose my orange there. So I'll wipe off my tissue, to wipe off my brush, and just kind of go in there a little bit. Okay. Love blending. And a little bit down here. See, all these little tips and tricks, it helps, you know. All these little things that you do, these little details, they really help a lot. Now, I like that. Now this up here, that's chalk. So we're going to get rid of that chalk just so we can put on our highlight. Okay, so we got chalk marks. Just get a damp brush, just whatever brush you want to use. I'm just using this one here. You can use a small flat brush if you want. See? There might be some chalk marks here, but I'm going to wait for it to completely dry. It's dry out here. I don't think there's any more chalk marks here. Okay. Just use your flat brush and get some green color and some yellow and some white to really brighten it up. So green is your base color. Lighten it up with some yellow and lighten up even more with some white. How's that? But you want a little bit of green in there because the leaf is green, so you want to keep it might be darker down there because that's behind, so we'll think that that's a bit darker there. Sometimes you have to think about where the light might be. It's important. It helps a lot when you know where you want to put the lights because it makes it more realistic when you got 2 or 3 values. In this case I'm going to spread that down in here, so I'm going to try and get 3 values. So I get my dark, which is that dark green, and I'm going to spread that down a bit so I can get a medium a medium value of my green. Don't want to lose my dark one altogether, so I'm going to wipe off my brush really good. And then I'm going to scrub at that edge there. If I lose my dark, I can just put it back in. Nice dark green to go back in here, see? So I'm trying to get 3 values of green, okay? So that's my dark green. And then I'll wipe that off. And then I will, because I want, every time you put on a layer, you don't want it to be a sharp line like that, unless you do. I mean, you can certainly leave it if you wanted to. But I like softening up my lines, so I just scrub at that. And that will blend that in with, see? That will blend that in with the rest. And then I got medium there. And then I got my highlight. So see how that gives them a better, I'll get my highlight going again. Green, yellow, and white. And get that on the edge here. Okay. A little more yellow and white. Want it nice and bright because we got the moon shining on it. So we want it to really stand out. Right, there it is. Right on that edge there. I'm using the corner of my brush because I want to use the whole brush. I'll end up with too much. So then I'm going to just scrub at that a little bit just to soften it up a small bit. Okay. So there we go. That looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Soften it up. Soft, soft, soft. I get a lot of people say, how do I soften up my paintings? I get, and what they're really talking about is the edges, the hard edges. And then when you paint on the edges and blend them in with the other color, you're going to get those soft edges. See how nice and soft that is? Isn't that pretty? So that's how you do that. A little more highlight. I'm going to go with white just to really brighten it up there on the edge. A little bit here. I love highlights because they really bring your painting out, to make them stand out. Really gives a nice finishing touch look. So this tutorial is not only about painting a Halloween painting or pumpkins. This is about a lot of things. Okay, it's about mostly about getting your colors blending when I'm wet. All kinds of things. So I really like that nice light color up here. It's a white. While we're doing highlights, let's do some on the moon shining down on this grass, on the fence. So let's do some highlights on the grass. So get some yellow and get some white, get some green and some yellow and a little bit of white maybe. Depends on how bright you want your highlight on the grass there. So we say the grass is here. We're going to really brighten it up, okay? Right now it's just getting started. Pull up a few green grasses. Just going to work my way down a little bit just to see. Might be a little bit of light going back here. Don't know for sure, but we'll find out. It's your imagination, so you can have whatever way you want. Okay, so nice little bits of green. I want to leave the bottom still dark, but picking up some of these little bits of white, which is kind of nice. Just so it stands out a bit more. You don't want it to be a flat, dark green, but just a little bit more. This time we will add some white and yellow to our green, just to get it really bright. Swatch. But see, don't lose what I just did, okay? Now you go on top of that. I'm using a bristle brush. See how nice and bright that is now? A little bit down here. Not too much. I'm going to pull up a few just to get as if it's grass going there. So I'm not really going to, just trying to get some lights. That's as light as I want to go there. So I'm going to wait. We'll tap up here, get our lights, and then we will, whatever's left over on our brush, start tapping a little bit down here. Right? Just see, as you can see, then you can see that there's some grass down there, but you can't really see a lot of it. So, because we want to keep that dark down there, keep it nice and mysterious, right? But you still want to know that, oh, there's grass down here. Okay, we'll put some underneath the chin. But you can see it, see? And I'm going to get a liner brush. And I'm going to put some little bits of grass. I'm going to run through my green and my yellow and my white. Just put little bits of grass going up here by that tree. A bit more green than that. That's kind of white. There we go. All right. It's behind a tree, so I'm going to make sure, let's see, we get this much first. Kind of like that idea of a bit of grass coming up through here. Just little bits. This here is too bright, okay? I don't like that. So I'm going to get my green, and I'm going to go through that again. Tone it down. There we go. Yeah, I didn't like that. It's a bit better. A bit better, I'm not sure. What do you think? I'm just darkening it up a bit more there now. Alright. I think I'm happy with that. It's kind of different. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to add a bit of green and yellow and dark green, and I'm going to add some grass down here in front of the pumpkin. I'm adding a little bit of red just for some color. It kind of adds a nice little touch to it, doesn't it? I'm pulling it over to the left and over to the right. You can do that too, or just pull it to the left if you want. It's okay to have that in the face. That's quite cute, the red, isn't it? Now for here, we've got the light going on there, so I would say use your small flat brush and we'll add some highlight to the fence. I'm just going to use probably some blue and white. Oh, not green. Some blue. So some blue and white. Nice light blue. And I'm going to add that right on top of the fence. See how nice that is? And now we'll do the sides of these here. See, it looks so much better, doesn't it? Good. And I think we have some here. That looks pretty good. All right, now you can also add some highlight to the edge of the tree. You can use the same color if you like. Good. Good, good, good. So I'm going to take my liner brush and I'm going to add some more twigs to the tree. Because as you can see, I'm using black. Some of it is not black enough, so I'm just going to blacken. You can use your flat brush if you like. It might be faster than this little liner brush. I'm just going to come over here and I'm going another little twirly thing there. Just so cute. So I just want to. So just put a bit of green on your liner brush and a bit of white. And then we'll just, more white than green I think. And then we'll just go over those. And just have them there for, I don't know, just because they're cute. Just follow the line. There we go. Take a little piece off of there just to give it some looks. Give it a cute little look. Save it here. Almost like a little leaf on it or something. That's cute. Let's get rid of that chalk. Alright, I'm just going to use, I don't have to use these type of brushes, I just find them nice, you know, to clean it up. There we go. As long as everything is dry, that way you won't smudge your paint. Make sure everything is dry. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a little bit of a glow around that? Wouldn't that be pretty? So I'm going to try this brush. And that's the soft, fluffy brush. Okay, it's a smaller version. And I'm going to put white paint and a little bit of blue just to, so it won't be too bright. Now, I don't know how it's going to work. I could ruin the painting. I don't know. We'll find out now. So I'm going to take some paper towel and I'm going to wipe off as much paint as I can. So I take my paper towel and wipe off as much paint as I can. I'm going to try this and see what happens. Oh, wow, too much. So you gotta make sure you don't have very much paint. You don't have to do this if you don't want, but I like to try things. Oh yeah, nice. Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're getting a nice glow there now. See? And then you can just scrub it on as if you're cleaning your brush and just twirl it. Okay, I had too much paint on that one for some reason. Okay, but no worries. I like that. A nice glow. So whatever's left over my brush, now I'll move it out. It's got a nice glow, see? Nice. Now this is tricky, so make sure you hardly have any paint on your brush. And if you got your tree already done, you can do this before you do your tree, but if you already got your tree, because I never told you this till now, because I'm always looking at it and seeing what else I can add. So if you go over your tree a bit right there like that, just go back in with the black and go back over your tree. But look at that nice glow. I like that. There we go. That's nice. I like that. Good. I think I'll add a few little stars with toothpick and white. To show you how these little details can really make your painting look nice. So, just looking around, see what I got. I got some nice little red flowers down there. Just wondering if I should, because I like to get harmony into the painting, maybe add a few little ones up here just to give it harmony, because if you're going to put red in one area, it's nice to put a little bit of red somewhere else too, just to harmonize your painting. It's a little bit better. Just a little bit over there. White, I mean, because the moon is not shining down there. But anyway, I'm going to add a few, like I said, a few more over here, just to make the harmony. That's how you get harmony in your paintings also, by putting the same color in different spots of your painting. See, isn't that pretty? So I hope you like this painting. This is really, I enjoyed it. So great for Halloween, little Halloween project for you to do. So you can subscribe so you can get more videos, and you can give me a like, and let me know in the comments if you've done some Halloween paintings. And if you did, or if you do this one, you can email them to AllisonPryor@yahoo.com. And I would love to see your paintings and if you have any questions. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.